Ja, välkomna då till Mathörnan, ett nytt inslag här på Helt Okej Metallmagasinet. Idag ska vi laga smörgåsar och till min hjälp har jag gourmanden och matexperten Blackie Lawless från WASP. Hello Blackie, how you doing?
Howdy, fine.
Good to see you.
Fine.
Glad you could join my little cooking show here. Good.
What are we going to cook?
Well, as you can see here, I brought some bread. We got some salami, cheese, paprika, onions, lettuce, mayo, tomatoes, the works.
Okay.
Let's do a sandwich, shall we? And
right.
Talk a little bit about what you've been doing lately. Maybe you want to start chopping some onions here.
Give me the good job, right?
Yeah, because, you know, your music always brings tears to my eyes. Especially this time, because...
There's going to be a new host after this.
This time, it's really a serious album, this one.
Mm-hmm. What did you find out a while ago?
The Crimson Idol moves away a lot from really what you used to do in the past.
That's right.
It's
well, you know, I spent the last 4 years making a change. You know, we reached a point with the Electric Circus record where, and it's funny that record was titled aptly because it had turned into just that. I mean, it had gotten to a point where it had turned into a literal zoo. And we said, are we going to continue to carry on this three-ring circus like this, or are we going to do something of musical merit? And man, this thing is really strong.
Was that a mistake, do you think, the Electric Circus inside the...
I think it was the biggest pile of crap made by any band anywhere in the world. I really do. It was a very tired record made by a very tired band. And I hear people come up to me all the time and they go, well, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. It's a great record, it's a great record. And I go, yeah, well, you know, I'm glad you like it, but from my point of view, this is really starting to kill me here.
Let's do away with the onions, shall we?
Really? Ooh.
We have other things here.
You know, but from a musical point of view,
instead.
you know, it was time to move on. You know, I wasn't saying the things that I wanted to say. You guys leave the seeds in around here? You take them
do what you think is best there. Personally, I take away the seeds, actually.
Okay.
Because they sort of, they're a little crispy, aren't they?
Man, that thing is got, excuse me.
Let's take the onion and toss it out of here. No more onion. It's gone to meet its maker. Anyway, you decided to do something very serious. I mean, this is more like a concept album, isn't it?
Well, it's an opera. And it's a story about a boy named Jonathan Steele who has a myriad of problems in his life, not one being that he's constantly looking for the acceptance of his parents. And his parents never accept him the way he wants them to. So you have a complex situation going on here where you have a number of problems going on. The main problem is the boy's acceptance by his parents, but also he thinks that if he becomes rich and famous in the music industry, that they'll welcome him home, the prodigal son returns. So he thinks he'll use the music business, and in reality, the music business ends up using him, and it destroys his life.
Is this an autobiography? Right?
It's... Jonathan is... A lot of people that I know in the industry, I took a little out of one personality, a little from another, a little from another, a little from me, and put it all together. I mean, my relationship with my father could not be better. You know, I mean, I've been very, very lucky. And so the relationship that this boy has is not like that whatsoever. I mean, the music industry, everybody thinks when they listen to this record that I've, you know, made a blatant attack on the industry, and I want to, you know, make it known.
Charlie?
Well, yeah, but because Charlie represents something that's very important or inherent in the industry, is that Charlie is like the evil philosopher. And Charlie, he says in this story that he was a lawyer for 25 years before he realized he could screw over more people in the music industry and he never could in a court of law. You know, so he takes these kids and he manipulates them. And the whole reason I did this story is I get asked one question over and over again by the fans. They say, give me some advice. How do I get from where I'm at to where you're at? And so I tell them the same thing over and over again. I say, you got to really, really want this. And they all go, yeah, I want it, I want it, I want it. But they don't really understand what they're asking. So I thought, okay, I'm going to tell them a story, show them the worst possible side of this business. And then once they've seen it, if they still think they want to do it, go for it. Be my guest.
But I think, wasn't it very daring to, I wouldn't say that you named him, but you definitely made strong, sort of, you showed the little house in which this record company could have been housed on Vine Street. If
No, yeah, I got no problems with calling a spade. I asked for 3 years to get off that label. They wouldn't let me go, you know, so, I can't figure out which part of the lyrics it was that finally got his goat at the end of the day, speaking of goats.
No, this is not a goat.
No, not goat. No. It's not that bad, right? Okay.
There you go. Let's start off with you're out on tour now also. Is this something, since the album is very much different, is the tour different too?
Well, the tour is, when we first started out in the early days, you know, with all the blood and guts and all that stuff, we were doing a type of theater called psychodrama.
You like mayo in yours?
Too fattening. Dry, thanks. And what we've done is we've incorporated some of the ideas of the psychological point of view of that, and you'd have to just see the show to understand that. It's a type of thing that it's all done with a basic color scheme, and it tells the story pretty much throughout the show. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's like, I took 3 years to make a record that I've wanted to make for a long time. I mean, I've had this idea since 1987, and it's been really, really fulfilling to me. I may never get a chance to take the time to make another record like this again. I don't see how. I mean, you never just say never, but I don't know how I could take the time to do it again, because one thing that was really important was to build a great record, but I also had to put a great band together as well. And this is a group of musicians, and WASP in any incarnation previous to this could not play this music. I mean, this is really, really hard to do.
Do you feel that the people has received this album the way you intended it? That they understand the whole concept? That they understand the idea behind it?
I wrote it from a point of view where I did not want to create fast food for the ears. I wanted to do something that was going to last for a long, long time. So there, like I said, there's a myriad of different stories going on. There's 3 main themes going on here, but there's also many, many subplots going on at the same time. It took me a year just to write the story before I ever got into the music and the lyrics. So depending on where you are in your life and how old you are and what you're thinking at that point will determine exactly what you're going to see when you listen to this record. You go back and listen to it 3, 5 years from now, you're going to see something altogether different. You're going to go, I never saw this before, because there's a story or a narration that goes with the album. You can't understand the album without the story, and you can't understand the story without the album.
But that's applied with the CD.
That's right, and they cross-reference each other. But also in the lyrics tells you who's talking and saying what at that particular point. So depending on whose viewpoint you're looking at the story from is going to determine what you see in the record. So it's an enormously complicated piece of work. I'm very, very flattered with the reviews that we've had over it.
Oh, it's been extremely well received here.
Well, more often than not, worldwide, it's being compared to Tommy and The Wall. And I don't know how you can get any better than that.
You just go down on your knees and yell, I'm not worthy.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, it's not, people think, oh God, you know, well, you're going to get a big head or something like that. It's not so much like that. It's more like when you work on something that long and that hard, you don't know what's going to happen. You think it's good while you're working on it, but you don't really know until people hear it.
Let's listen to some of the stuff we're actually talking about here.
Okay.
So, there you go. Just look into the camera and introduce the next video.
This is from the Crimson Idol. This is the title track. This is The Idol.
Det där var alltså WASP med The Idol. Quite dark and dooming, gloomy. It's not too much illumination there on the stage.
Well, it's really reflects what's going on in this boy's life. This kid starts out and he thinks that, well, he's at the bottom of the mountain looking up and he's miserable. And he thinks he's looking up at the top of the mountain. He thinks, well, if I get there, you know, everything's going to be rosy. Well, he gets to the top of the mountain and he realizes that when he gets there, he was better off on the bottom of the mountain than he was when he was on the top, because when he was on the bottom of the mountain, he was miserable, but at least he had somewhere to go. Now he's at the top. He's still miserable. There's only one way out for him. And it's a very pathetic little story.
So really, what you're saying is rock and roll is a shitty place to be?
Well, I'm not saying that for everybody. For me, it's been the greatest thing. I mean, every dream's come true 1,000 times. But, you know, you hear the expression, 1 in a million get a record deal. I'll give you an even more alarming statistic. Out of all those 1 in a millions that ever get a record deal, only 2% ever make any money. So I've been given a great gift in life. And my gift is not my talent to sing or write or play. The gift is to communicate with people. And it's important to take responsibility that, see, rock and roll should be, true rock and roll should be about anarchy and revolution, and when you see something wrong, you should say something about it. And if you can say anything or do anything to help people's lives and to keep them from making mistakes when they don't really know what they want to get into, then that's what I'm supposed to do. I mean, rock and roll's a great thing. You can have a great time with it, but, you know, it's like the ocean. If you don't respect it, it will take your life. And I've had a lot of friends that I've lost, and there's really no need for that, because I think, see, Hollywood especially perpetuates this great myth, and the myth is glamour. And in reality, 98% of this is work, 2% is glamour. And I don't give a shit about that 2% glamour anyway. I mean, I've changed a lot in the last few years, and my priorities are very, very different now from where they used to be. And like I said, I know why I've been put on this earth, and that is to communicate to people.
And you do a good job.
Well,
do you think I did a good job out of this sandwich?
Well, there's about 97,000 calories right there in that mayonnaise and that cheese.
Wasn't this the light? No, it wasn't the light stuff.
Well, if it's you'll have to tell me, because I don't know.
We're going to put you through the ringer a little bit here.
Okay. Let's get ready.
I just got to ask you one thing,
Don't make
though.
this too hard.
I'm extremely curious to know, who is the Crimson Idol?
You have to keep listening to the story.
You told me that the last
Every
time.
question that anyone will ever have about that is all either in the lyrics or in the story.
It's in the eyes of the beholder.
No, not necessarily. There have been some things in the story that have been left up in the air, but most of the big questions are answered in the story. And some of them are a lot more simple than you might think. People are looking, so they can't find the forest for the trees, so to speak.
Right, there you go. Anyway, let's go. You get 1 point for each correct answer here.
Would I win? I get to get out of here, right?
Well, let's see.
No, that's okay. I'll pass on that. The crew will get to have this.
What's the name of the presidential candidates for this year's election?
In which country?
In America.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh, well,
go ahead.
You got Clinton. Well, on the Democratic side, you got Clinton and my favorite buddy's husband, Tipper Gore.
Oh, a fantastic
Albert
woman.
Gore, you know. And then you've got Mr. Bush and Howdy Doody, his running mate. I don't know if you guys know who Howdy Doody is here, but
Mr.
he's
Crown.
yes. And it's like, you know, I've been to, you know, people know that I'm very politically involved, and they go, you know, what should I do? Who should I vote for? I don't know what to tell them to do. You know, it's like, you know, it's one of these situations, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I should get 4 points for that, because there's 4 answers. Perot's not running.
He's running again.
He's not running.
He's running. He's joined the race yesterday. That's why I wanted to see if you watched your CNN stories there. Who starred in Batman? I want 3 actors.
The TV show or the movie?
No, the movie.
Michael Keaton was Batman, and you said you wanted 3 actors?
3 actors.
The Batman Returns or the original?
The first one.
Would have been Blondie. What's her name? Oh, God, I know the girl.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger.
And one more. The Joker.
Oh, Nicholson.
Yes. What's the capital in Belgium?
Brussels.
Brussels. Very good. Very good. What were the 2 Russian expressions we got familiar with during the Gorbachev era?
Glasnost and Perestroika.
Very good indeed. You know your Russians. Sweden.
Very little, actually.
Sweden manufactures 2 different type of cars. Which ones?
Volvos and Saabs.
You know your cars. You driving a Volvo? No?
No, I wouldn't have one, actually.
Is Sweden a republic or a monarchy?
Monarchy.
Very good. Which is the only European country with no speed limits on the freeways?
Germany. But that's actually not true. There are speed limits in some areas on the autobahn.
In some areas, yes, but they have
I learned that the hard way.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You get to take it, huh? How old must you be to purchase alcohol in Sweden?
I thought it was 12 to tell you the truth.
12?
I've been seeing kids out on the street with it. 21, I believe.
No,
Is
it's
that-
20.
No, it's 20.
But 18 in a restaurant. They drive on the left-hand side of the street in England. I'll name 5 countries, and you'll tell me if they drive on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. Okay? Holland.
Right.
Correct. Greece.
Right.
No, left hand.
Whoa. We
Switzerland.
were just there. They drive on the left-hand side over there? I must have been drunk that whole time.
Switzerland.
Right.
Yeah. Portugal.
Right.
Yes. Thailand.
I've never been there, so I'll take a wild guess and say left.
It's correct. Very good. 4 out of 5. What's the name of the world-famous battleship, the Swedish one, which sank on its maiden journey in Stockholm in 1628, and it's now on display?
It's a little help from the audience here.
It's now on display in a very well-known museum.
Apparently it's not that well known because I have no idea what it is.
It was the regal ship Vasa.
Okay.
Vasa. Last one here. Soho in New York. What is that a shortening for?
So ho. I don't know.
You're from New York. You're from New York. South of Houston. You know that.
No, it comes from Soho in London.
It comes from south of Houston. I learned it from a book.
Yeah, well, it's probably propaganda. They don't want to.
Blackie, it's been fantastic. You win this sandwich.
No, that's okay. I'll pass. That's all
right. What a shame. It looks like a great sandwich. Time's up for you guys. I gotta rejoin the show. You're on tour, so I shouldn't keep you any longer. Good to see you. All the best.
Thank you.
And I'll catch you later.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.